Hi, this week we're going to be looking at developing your communication skills. Communication development begins at birth. Language develops most rapidly in the first few years of life, but because the brain is so impressionable in the early years, the amount of language a child is exposed to during this time is critical for good speech development. It all starts with simple sounds when you hear babies doing their goo-goos and gagas, but they are trying to get a message across to you. It's looked at as babble, but to them it is a form of communication. As the months go by, they start to move towards basic words and then they chatter. And sometimes they make up their own words when they're attempting to learn new words. Early exposure to language is very important as it does develop our language and our abilities to speak and comprehend communication. As we grow, language can be influenced by a number of things. The environmental context is a big factor because the environment in which you're brought up in ultimately can determine how much language that you learn. You may be in a multicultural family where more than one language is being spoken. Reading is also another big factor involved in language exposure, as it does develop our ability to see and understand the meaning of certain words. In addition to this, speaking is how we verbalize this language, and it's our main form of communication amongst people. Peer groups are also another big factor that will determine your exposure to language, as they will provide an opportunity for us to interact with others and practice our language skills when we speak and also when we listen. To develop and improve on our language skills, you must consider the following: practicing, reflexivity, reading, interacting as much as possible, and feedback. It's important to remember that with reflexivity, you are trying to maintain a bidirectional relationship between what you practice in terms of speaking, reading, and listening, and also your opportunities to interact with people. That's why feedback is also another important factor when we are developing our language skills. Feedback allows us to see where we are communicating effectively and where we might need to improve. So as you are developing your communication skills, consider the amount of exposure you are getting from the language. You need to consider informal and formal ways of communicating to better improve these skills when you are in a workplace setting.